Hi, this is Kathy at inkingpaperwithkat.com. Today's project is a little Minion Tic Tac book holder. And if we open it up, you will see that it holds a little box of Minion Tic Tacs. These are banana flavored. They're new on the market and you need to rush and get some because they are too cute. Alright, let's get started on this project. For today's project, you need a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock that's 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. Let's zoom this out a little bit. You also need 2 pieces of DSP. This is the Pacific Point from the Brights stack, and they are 2 by 3 inches. And you need a piece of DSP that is 1/2 inch by 3 inches, and you need a piece of the Daffodil Delight that is 3/4 of an inch by 6. So there's a little bit of scoring, not much. So let's get our scoreboard out. And you're scoring on the long side, and you score at 2 1/4 and at 3. That's all the scoring. Let's round our corners now. So just take your corner rounder and you want to round all 4 corners. You also want to round 2 corners on a long side of your DSP. Both pieces. Alright, let's attach our DSP before we fold and burnish. Try to get an equal border. As you can tell, these make up really quickly, so these would be really cute. Little party favors, or just treats for some kiddos. For me, these are going to my grandkids. They're both at an age where they love Minions. Okay, let's fold and burnish. We're going to get our box all completed before we start building our little Minion. Alright, if you take this thin yellow strip, just lay it across your Tic Tac box and fold it around. There is no need to score or do any special burnishing with it. So fast fuse or tear and tape, something that is strong, because you want this to stick. My fast fuse just ran out. Hopefully I have enough on there. Alright, let's put it on. And what I do is I kind of just lay it down. I think it should be. And I double check that by just laying it in. Alright, let's take this little guy out for a minute, and we want to put our ribbon in. I'm going to use double-sided tape for this. And I'm also, this ribbon is not Stampin' Up! Because they don't make a solid yellow. But you'll see that this ribbon is exactly the same width as the tape, so it works really well. And I wanted the ribbon on the inside, not the outside. So I'm just going to lay my tape down in the middle, straight across. And it is definitely a tear and tape, I just tore it. Alright, don't go all the way to the edge. And then take your paper piercer, pull off the backing. And I probably should have done this before I put that on, but it works just fine. And then we just want to lay our ribbon down. Okay, and we'll trim our ribbon. So just either tie a bow or tie a knot, whichever one is easier for you. I think a bow, especially if you're giving it to kids, it's easier for them to get it open without ripping up the package. And we'll just trim that. Alright, let's build our little minion. For the minion, we need the owl builder punch. And we need a bunch of scrap paper. We're going to use some scrap Pacific Point, Smoky Slate, Whisper White, Basic Black, and Daffodil Delight. So the first thing we want is we want a full owl of the Daffodil Delight. Now you don't need to punch everything, just fit it in and you'll get that. We need a vest of Pacific Point. And you want to save this in because you're going to use this for his suspenders there. We want a bottom of an owl. We don't need the whole owl in black. And we actually need two of those because it's going to be his feet and his arms. That's flying up into the camera, isn't it? Out of the Whisper White, we need the medium-sized holes. Try to keep track of your pieces. Out of the Smoky Slate, we need the large circles. And out of the Basic Black, we need those two little tiny circles. And those are the ones that I usually end up losing. There's one of them. Oh, I'm just gonna, oh, there's the other one inside the punch. Okay. And then we're going to need a little piece of black, just a black strip that we're going to cut for, see if you can see it. His little eyeglass is on that, or whatever it is. I'm not necessarily a Minion expert, though I do think they're cute. So we'll just cut a little black strip. So let's put this together. We need to take our Daffodil Delight owl and we are going to cut off his feet and we are going to cut off his ears. And there's the basic shape of our minion. Now to get his feet, we're actually just going to fit this on. And you don't need all of it, you just need a little bit. You're going to lay him on. We're going to use Tombow. That'll give you some time to get him together. Line them up because you don't want that black showing. You could always trim it, but why trim if you don't have to? Alright, to make his arms, we actually need another piece of yellow. And you can do it with a word window punch, or you can just cut a strip, kind of measure. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I just take my scissors and freehand rounding it off a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut up next to these little feet. And we're going to attach that on the back to make his little arms, or attach his little hands. So put some Tombow on. Check it from the front because you want to make sure you've got enough of that hand showing. Same thing with the other one. Okay, so now we have his little arms, but before we attach them, let's get his overalls on. So for his overalls, you are going to cut off that V section. And then remember I told you to hang on to this piece? We're going to cut it, that curve from the bottom. And we're just going to follow that curve around. So we've created kind of an arc, kind of. And we're going to cut that in half. And we're going to fit it on to create his overall straps. And you can fiddle with it until you get it exactly the way that you want. It's all up to you. I just kind of go ahead and put them on and know that I may have to trim them off. I line them up with the armholes, so that way I know that that part is pretty much right. And if you use Tombow, you've got a few minutes to kind of jiggle around with that, or a few, well, not minutes, but seconds anyway. Longer than if you used fuse or something. Okay, and then just flip them over in the back and you can see where there's just a tiny, tiny bit that needs to be trimmed. Alright, let's make his eye. I'm going to put this little black piece across his face. And when you're using the Tombow, do try to avoid getting too much glue so that it's all oozing out. Okay. So I'll put a piece in the middle. Stick it down. A little glue middle of this one. White circle goes in. And another tiny, tiny bit of glue. And the little black circle goes on. And this is usually the one I end up stuck to me. And then just take a black pen. Oops, that is not a black pen. And just give him a big smile. Okay, now we can stick his arm on, which I have lost. Alright, let's stick it on. again some Tombow. And make sure that his arm is coming out of the sleeves. And there we have our little minion. So we're going to let him dry a little bit and do some stamping. Let's get this mess off before it confuses everybody. And today we're going to use Confetti Celebration. It's your day. And we're going to use stick point ink. That was graceful, wasn't it? I caught it. On this one, I use the oval punches. Those have been retired by Stampin' Up. So for today, we are going to try using some circle punches and see how that works, because those are still available. So the 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch punch just fits. And then if you use the 1 3/8 inch with your Daffodil Delight, you will get a small border. So let's take some dimensionals. Pop this guy up. Line it up. And we're going to take our minion and we're going to pop him up as well. Now I like to give some support to his arms, so I just go in and clip a couple of these little half sections that are on the edges. Plus that uses things up so they don't go to waste. Let's put him on. Let's pop up our greeting as well. I think he should have gone down a little bit lower. So we're not going to take him off. But if we put this over here at an angle. Alright, there's your Minion Tic Tac book box. I hope you enjoyed the project and give it a try. Thanks for joining me.